The story of Princess Delphine of Belgium is truly heartbreaking. She was the illegitimate daughter of King Albert II of Belgium, but her own father refused to recognize her and rejected her for 52 years, cruelly subjecting her to endless humiliation. Delphine had to fight in court to earn the right to be called a princess. But what happened when she finally won? How did her relationship with her father turn out? And how is she living now? Watch this video to find out how Delphine fought for justice and the right to be recognized by her father, and what came of it. In October 2020, Delphine spoke at a press conference after the court officially recognized her as the daughter of King Albert II of Belgium. She could not hold back her tears, overwhelmed with emotion. These were tears of both joy and frustration. She was happy that she had finally won after 7 long years of brutal and humiliating court battles. But she also grieved that her own father had refused to acknowledge her as his daughter for 52 years. Her father had subjected her to humiliation, forcing her to go through lengthy legal procedures and face mockery from the press. Delphine was not a gold digger and never dreamed of being called Her Royal Highness. She just wanted the truth to come out finally. She simply wanted her father to acknowledge and stop lying about her existence. Didn't she deserve that? "I just wanted to be the same as my brother and my sister," said Princess Delphine. "I feel like I have a right to exist, not to exist in the royal family, but as me," she told a Belgian radio show. "My decision to call for help through the law, I feel today that it was the right thing to do. The judicial system said that I was right and that I had the right to exist. I expect nothing more," she concluded in her speech, wiping her tears with a handkerchief. The story of Princess Delphine is a hard-fought battle for the right to be part of her biological family. It's the story of a strong woman who fought for the truth and won despite the ridicule of those around her. But it's also a story about how a secret affair with a married man can lead to dramatic consequences that affect the entire family. Delphine Boel was born in 1968 to a noblewoman, Sybil de Salis-Longchamps, and Jacques Boel, a Belgian industrialist and a large paper manufacturing company heir. She grew up in luxury and was part of aristocratic circles, even having connections to the Belgian royal family. However, in childhood she never suspected that Jacques Boel was not her biological father. Life in a wealthy family offered her many opportunities. She received a good education and loved art from an early age. A creative and sensitive child, she was passionate about painting and design. She was always raised with love and care, and her family was so well off that they were possibly even wealthier than the Belgian royal family. The Boel family's fortune could have reached around $1 billion. Yet there was a secret beneath Delphine's privileged life. She felt that her parents were hiding something from her. When she was 10, her mother divorced Jacques Boel, which left an emotional mark on the sensitive girl. She grew up like any other teenager and until the age of 17 had no idea who her biological father was. Delphine attended boarding schools in England and Switzerland. She later studied at the Chelsea College of Art and Design in London, where she graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Fine Arts with honors in 1990. Delphine discovered that her biological father was King Albert II of Belgium when she was 17. Her mother told her the truth, explaining that she had been in a long-term relationship with the royal, but he was married and divorcing his wife could damage the royal family's reputation. Albert never showed any interest in his illegitimate daughter's life and never made any effort to meet her. He acted as if this child never existed in his life. So when 17-year-old Delphine learned the truth about her father, she didn't initially try to contact him. For a long time, no one suspected that the king had an illegitimate daughter until 1999, when a young journalist and writer, Mario Daniels, published a book titled Paola, which focused on the life of Queen Paola, the wife of King Albert. The author sympathized with the unfortunate queen, who was unhappy because her husband had an affair. It was thanks to this book that, in 1999, the existence of King Albert's illegitimate daughter, Delphine, became known to the public. However, the Belgian royal palace stated that all this information was false and nothing but absurd rumors, claiming the king had no legitimate children. The Belgian press conducted an investigation and tracked down Delphine and her mother. Journalists started hounding both women. When Delphine was 33, she contacted her biological father for help. But Albert responded harshly, "Never call me again, you are not my daughter." Hearing such words from her father was deeply painful for Delphine. Later, she tried contacting him again, by phone, by mail, and even through mutual friends and acquaintances. But her father rejected her each time, insisting that he had no daughter. For many years she suffered, feeling abandoned and rejected. But at some point she realized she wanted justice and to tell the truth to the world. She had no choice but to go to the press and court. But why was Albert so cruel? Why did he refuse to acknowledge his own daughter? He had several reasons for this. Prince Albert met his future wife in 1958 when he traveled to the Vatican to witness the coronation of Pope John XXIII. At a reception at the Belgian embassy, he met Italian Donna Paola Ruffo di Calabria. It was love at first sight. Just a few months after they met, Albert introduced her to his parents, and a year later they were married. Their first child, Prince Felipe, the future king of Belgium, was born a year after their wedding. Soon after, they had two more children, Princess Astrid and Prince Laurent. After the wedding, the beautiful Italian Paola received her royal title and became very popular in the press. She was often compared to Grace Kelly. Like her, paparazzi followed her everywhere. However, her royal life turned out to be too tricky for Princess Paola. She quickly grew tired of the constant press attention, disliked socializing, felt uncomfortable in the cold, gloomy Belgium, and missed her sunny homeland of Italy. Moreover, a crisis eventually struck Paola and Albert's marriage. For many years after the birth of their three children, the prince and princess lived in separate rooms and even discussed divorce. Prince Albert began an affair with the Belgian aristocrat Baroness Sibyl during this time. This affair, which resulted in the birth of Delphine, lasted about 18 years. Albert wanted to divorce his wife and start a new family, but ultimately he changed his mind, as it could have had severe consequences for him. As a future king, he had to maintain a good reputation. Paola also could not divorce her husband, which would have meant losing custody of her three children, her royal title, and financial support. After much deliberation, Albert decided to restore his relationship with Paola. He feared that a divorce could create tension in political and social circles, threatening his personal life and the country's political stability. The couple mended their relationship, and Albert chose to forget about his past affair and the existence of his illegitimate daughter. He never liked to put his private life on display and always kept personal matters strictly secret. For many years, he refused to acknowledge his illegitimate daughter, likely because he feared this news would tarnish the royal family's reputation. He also may have worried about hurting his wife Paola, with whom he had worked hard to repair their relationship after the crisis. It is also possible that Albert's actions stemmed from his personality. He was known to be principled and emotionally reserved. Whatever his reasons, he treated Delphine harshly by refusing any contact with her. This deeply saddened her, and she sought justice and official recognition through the courts. It was only in 2013 that she began a battle to be recognized as legitimate. The first time I visited him, King Albert, and his lawyers, he was very nasty and made me cry. I never thought I would go to court, but I did it out of a certain principle, she shared later in a VTM documentary. Delphine filed the lawsuit only in 2013 because Albert, as King of Belgium, had royal immunity from 1993 to 2013, when he held the throne, until he abdicated in favor of his eldest son, Prince Felipe. In June 2013, when King Albert lost his immunity from legal prosecution, Bol summoned him and his children, Prince Felipe and Princess Astrid, to court. She hoped to use DNA tests to prove she was the king's daughter. However, in 2013, Delphine wasn't able to win her case because the court did not have enough solid evidence to support her claim that Albert II was her biological father. The royal family was not cooperating then, making it difficult for Delphine to get the necessary proof to conduct DNA tests. Plus, the legal process was still in its early stages. These cases make time, and the court needed to gather all the required evidence and legal arguments before moving forward. Even though Albert had abdicated in 2013 and lost his immunity, his status as the former king made the case more complicated and sensitive. Legal proceedings involving royal family members, especially former monarchs, tend to be drawn out and politically delicate. In March 2017, Delphine faced another setback when the court ruled her claim was unfounded. It was a tough blow, but she and her legal team were not ready to give up. Her lawyers immediately announced that they would appeal the decision, determined to keep fighting for justice. By November 5, 2018, the case had finally shifted significantly. A new court ruling instructed Albert to submit to a DNA test to determine once and for all whether he was Delphine's biological father. In Belgium, DNA tests aren't mandatory, but refusing to take one can be seen as an admission of guilt. The pressure mounted on the former king, but Albert refused to concede. In January 2019, Albert tried to appeal the decision again, hoping to avoid the test. But by May 16th of that same year, the Brussels Court of Appeals had had enough. They issued a harsh ruling. If Albert continued to refuse the DNA test, he would face a fine of 5,000 euros for every single day he didn't comply. It was a clear message. The truth had to come out, one way or another. The former king was backed into a corner, and this court decision became a turning point in Delphine's long and painful battle for recognition. She had been chasing the truth for years, and now it seemed like the walls were closing in on Albert. The world was watching, and it was only a matter of time before the results would either confirm or deny what Delphine had believed for so long. In January 2020, the truth Delphine had fought so long and hard for finally came to light. The DNA tests revealed that she had known deep down for years. King Albert II was indeed her father. It was a moment of vindication, a confirmation that after decades of rejection and pain, she had been right all along. The Belgian Court of Appeals followed up with another victory later that year in October, granting Delphine and her children princely titles. However, because she was born out of wedlock, neither she nor her descendants would be in the line of succession to the Belgian throne. Still, the recognition was monumental. Despite the princely title, Delphine was not granted a royal endowment, although the court awarded her significant compensation for the legal costs she had incurred, an eye-watering 3.4 million euros. The journey had been financially and emotionally expensive, but the official acknowledgement of her place in the royal family was priceless. Delphine's position isn't that she wants or doesn't want to be a princess, said her lawyer. She doesn't want to be a cut-price child. She wants to have exactly the same privileges, titles, and capacities as her brothers and her sister. October 2020 also marked a new beginning for Delphine, legally and personally. On the 9th of that month, she met her half-brother, King Felipe of Belgium, at the Palace of Laeken. It was a significant moment, a bridge between two worlds, between two people who had lived such different lives but shared the same blood. The next day, King Albert released a statement expressing his joy over the meeting. "My wife and I are very happy with the King's initiative," the press release read, "a sign of happier days for all, and especially for Delphine." Later that same month, on October 25th, Delphine was invited to Belvedere Castle, the home of her father, King Albert, and Queen Paula. It was the first time she was truly welcomed into their home, a gesture that signified the possibility of reconciliation after so many years of silence and denial. It wasn't just a legal victory anymore, it was a personal one. "That first meeting was wonderful. We got along very naturally," said Princess Delphine. And then, on July 21st, 2021, a moment that few could have predicted occurred. Delphine and her partner stood at the National Day military parade alongside the Belgian royal family for the first time. In full view of the public, she was no longer the secret daughter hidden in the shadows, but a recognized princess standing proudly among her royal relatives. It had taken years of struggle, heartache, and determination, but Delphine had finally claimed her place in history, and though the road had been long, she had proven to herself, her father, and to the world that she belonged. During her campaign for recognition, Princess Delphine faced significant attacks and ridicule. The media portrayed her negatively, labeling her as a gold digger and accusing her of trying to disrupt the royal family for her gain. Public opinion was often harsh, with many believing she was tarnishing the reputation of King Albert II and the monarchy. The royal family rejected her claims, and official statements denied her existence, further isolating her. Emotionally, Delphine suffered deeply from her father's rejection, enduring years of public humiliation and legal battles. Despite the attacks, she remained determined and resilient, eventually winning her case and gaining the recognition she sought. Today, Princess Delphine is 56 and her biological father, Albert, is 90. Delphine is married to an American businessman of Irish descent, James O'Hare. The couple is raising 2 children. After the court case, she became widely known in Belgium and worldwide. She is often invited to appear on TV shows and turns down most offers. But once she did participate in the TV show Dancing with the Stars, where she performed a lively dance and thoroughly enjoyed being on stage. Princess Delphine's life changed after being officially recognized by her father, but she has remained humble and independent. Despite receiving the title of princess, Delphine continues to live a relatively simple life, staying true to her passion for art. She continues to work as an artist, a path she has always been dedicated to, and remains actively involved in various art projects and exhibitions. Delphine has chosen to distance herself from royal privileges, not wishing to be part of the royal lifestyle regularly. Her connection to her title is rooted more in justice and truth than in any desire to benefit from her new status. She receives no financial support from the royal family, but this was never a priority for her. In addition to her independent lifestyle, Delphine's 2 children, Princess Josephine and Prince Oscar, were also granted royal titles. While she has slowly begun building relationships with her new relatives, the royal family seems to accept her rather coldly. After winning her court case, Delphine encountered other challenges such as dealing with Belgian bureaucracy and updating all her documents to reflect her new status. Princess Delphine is focused on using her royal title not for personal gain but to help others. She has already engaged in charitable initiatives, including supporting breast cancer awareness campaigns and assisting organizations that work with children who have physical and mental disabilities. Through her art and charity work, she hopes to impact and use her platform to promote important causes positively. Princess Delphine continues participating in official family events with the Belgian royal family. For example, in June 2024, she joined them to celebrate Belgium's National Day. Delphine shared a photo from the event on her Instagram blog, writing, "It's unusual for me to share family photos." The picture featured former King Albert, his wife Paula, their grandchildren, and Delphine with her husband. It seems that the Belgian royal family has accepted Delphine and occasionally invites her to essential family gatherings. Unfortunately, these invitations are still quite rare. I suppose it's hard to call Princess Delphine's relationship with her biological father very close today, but there is undoubtedly no hostility or resentment between them. It was difficult for them to start seeing each other after years of legal battles. However, the fact that they have reconciled is already a crucial step for both of them. Delphine's case symbolized the fight for truth and justice. Her persistence in being recognized as King Albert II's daughter shattered the traditional belief in royal immunity, showing that even the most powerful must be accountable for their actions. This legal battle set a historical precedent in Belgium, as the royal family was forced to acknowledge an illegitimate child for the first time. It not only changed Delphine's life but also altered the public's view of the monarchy, proving that no one, not even kings, is above the consequences of their choices. Ultimately, Delphine's story is about more than a title. It's about seeking truth and dignity. Her journey inspired others to fight for their rights, regardless of their obstacles. What would you have done in Delphine's place? Would you have fought for the right to be recognized as the king's child? Or would you have preferred to stay in the shadows? Let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching.